And we've talked about two crucial issues so far: your initial strategy and how that affects what you do, and then change management techniques. And we want to finish up by getting perspective from a utility that is right now in the middle of a very large and ambitious smart metering initiative. Bill is a senior director at PG&E. He is managing what is North America's largest ever smart meter installation. It's a $2.2 billion program to install 10 million gas and electric smart meters across the service territory. And then he's also overseeing new applications to make use of that infrastructure and the customer care business delivery group. And that's a lot of organizational issues and challenges, so we're lucky to have him here to share some of his lessons learned. Bill?
Thank you, Jesse. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk about the smart meter program at PG&E, and we are very, very proud of what we've accomplished to date. We, in this last week, actually passed the 50% mark in our overall deployment, going past the 5 million meter mark on our march to the full 10 million meters that we need to accomplish by mid-2012. We currently clip along at an average of roughly 15,000 meter exchanges a day. And as you might imagine, that pace of deployment and the rapid transition of customers from the old way of metering and reading and serving customers to the smart meter world has had significant impacts on our workforce. In California, the energy policies of the state and that PG&E has supported and participated in have, going back to Bernie's earlier comments, have driven a strategy such that we are, with the smart meter program, certainly delivering a large number of operational benefits to the customer and to the utility, such as better customer service, improvements in our outage restoration capabilities, and in other areas. But just as important is the benefits to the customers of the additional information that the smart meter infrastructure has. Fundamental to the energy policies in California is the idea of customer awareness and customer control of their energy use. And while that is obviously not a perfect science yet, the implementation of the smart meter and the information products and services that your smart meter infrastructure can now provide to customers, how you handle the rollout and education and customer service, and actually the operational issues associated with these new information services is a fundamental change, certainly for PG&E, and I believe will be a fundamental change for the industry. So again, our smart meter program is deploying the meters is just the first step. Providing the additional tools for customers and employees to take advantage of this infrastructure and to extend these capabilities continually through the home area network and other innovations is absolutely a significant priority here and work that is well underway and all has an impact on our customer base. For example, the utilization of the much more granular usage data to enable time-dependent pricing. And the time-dependent pricing really drives the need for customers to better understand their usage behaviors. Your traditional customer, and the expectations they have of the utility is that the lights are always on and that they receive an accurate bill. But their understanding of their bill is typically limited to what was on the stub and paying the amount that's on the stub. Now, with the carrot and stick programs that come with time-dependent pricing, customers are going to be need to be much better educated on how a bill is produced, how their usage behaviors drive that bill, and that's an increasing emphasis for us here. If you look at the organizational changes and impacts that we've that we've been working through. First is the change that you will go through is an evolution. You'll start in many cases in a pilot mode with a relatively limited set of customers potentially participating in your program, and therefore you can control and manage the impacts to the workforce. But as you continue to move up that scale curve within your organization, you need to bring the entire organization of thousands of employees in the different areas through this curve. And if you think about the field areas, as Susan articulated earlier, there are absolutely changes in the skills and competencies necessary, and to some extent the size of the workforces that are necessary to support this new technology. You are deploying a whole new piece of infrastructure throughout your service territory in the case of the communications network. And we continue to work with our IBEW partners to educate and evolve our field workforce to handle the deployment and the maintenance and the troubleshooting of this new communications infrastructure. Likewise, in our customer operations areas, the expectations and the changes necessary in the contact center have also been significant. Again, customers, are calling and have called with new types of questions. How do I read this new type of meter that you just put on my home? What is it telling me? You've put more and more information potentially out on your websites for customers to use, and then they call with questions. And your contact center needs to be able to not just answer the traditional questions around service and high bills, but to answer that now in the context of the additional information services that you've provided to the customers. Likewise, the meter-to-cash side of the organization is also significantly impacted here. The traditional approach is you had meter readers who walked around with handhelds. They captured data, and generally that flowed straight through into a CIS application for billing. The data stream now for meter-to-cash is more complicated. You have the head-end data capture systems, which are dependent on that communications technology, and the ability of a operations group to manage and troubleshoot technical issues with that communications infrastructure is imperative to the success of now billing, as well as the additional types of exceptions and data analysis that any meter-to-cash and operations organization will need to be prepared for. Likewise, in the technical world, the impacts are also significant. Again, to allow customers to take advantage of the benefits of the smart meter, you need to be able to efficiently and effectively provide them that information. And so if you think about your website and the online communications that you do as being one of the primary channels to deliver that information to customers, the sophistication of utility websites will go through a major sea change, and at PG&E we are starting that process as well. And as I mentioned before, the completely new operations functions associated with a wide-scale smart meter and smart grid operation are significant. There are absolutely new technical skills for the utility in terms of managing extensive RF and sensor networks, and how you troubleshoot those centrally and in the field are important workforce changes.